what is power? What is power? I looked at some, you know, occurrence of power in the Bible, and I discovered something that may not be usual to some people to hear. It will not sound, powerful in your ears, for example. And what I got is this: power is like having courage. Power is like having the boldness. Power is like having the energy to do something. So, which means what is required is for you to stand up and speak boldly, speak courageously, move courageously. That is power. We saw that in our friend Charlie Kirk. What power did he use or manifest? The boldness is power. The courage is power. Your ability to, withstand fear, overcome fear is power. Glory to God. Hallelujah.